nobody typically knows or cares in particular, because the Queen is the spectacle.
Of course.
And that was I'm fine with that. I actually embrace that because that was the struggle of Albert's life.
This is Jim Bratton Podcast. You may enjoy some, or all, or none. Now, here's Jim.
This is Jim Bratton Podcast, and we're down at the Tremont Hotel, close to the Dickens on the Strand. And I've just run into somebody who I think I know, although the wardrobe, I'm not sure, but there is a sense of some royalty associated with it. Can you tell me who you are, please? I'm not sure I recognize you.
Yes, of course, Mr. Bratton. I am Prince Albert, the Royal Consort of Britannia. I am of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha in Germany. I am married to the Queen of England, of course.
So your title then is?
I am the Prince Consort. No, I am not the reigning monarch. In principle, I have no duties, but of course, I have a little bit of influence.
I would think you do.
And I am very happy, and I have married very well, of course. And I am very happy with my family. I have 9 children, and I have very busy, and I think I am doing something very important for my country.
But that was not the original title that you started with in a relationship.
Actually, nobody begins as a consort, Jim. You have to be married to somebody who is more important than you are. Well, that is correct. Yes, you have been studying something, huh? That's very good for an American. So I was the royal consort when I got married to Victorian. And then she was very nice to me, and she knows I feel a little bit bad because I have not so much of a job as like my brother Ernst, who is the Duke of Saxe-Coburg. So I am the Prince Consort.
You've had how many children?
9 children, yeah. Yeah.
That was very successful.
Vicky is actually, it makes us very popular because sometimes in the monarchy there is not so much an heir, and it becomes a problem for continuity, of course, and can cause many problems. So when we started having the children, I think the people were happy. At first, they were not so happy because I am German, I am not English. But of course, much of the royal family is not English, as we know. And one children's come after another. And of course, eventually there is a boy, and then there another boy. So I think it is all very secure. And I will tell you a little story.
Yes, so this is after you've secured the lineage then.
Yeah, and my uncle, let me tell you about my uncle Leopold.
Right.
Leopold of Belgium is my uncle, is also a Victoria's uncle. And when we were small, of course, we are playing together more and more. And as we are getting older and she is needing a husband, he is making sure that we are together more and more. And he says to me when we are getting married, on my wedding day, Leopold says, Albert, when you are going to become part of the royal family, it is important that you are never putting on airs, but you must be putting in airs.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yes. So, and you've done that.
In my country, this is very funny.
And you've done that, a uniquely Germanic humor, but you've done that. So, but being part of the family was something you started with. Aren't your first cousins with the Queen?
Yes, we are. My father is the brother of the Queen's sister. It's the Queen's mother. So
right.
My father is the brother of the Queen's mother. My father, yeah.
So now your father, got a significant allowance, did he not? When he married into the family. Now, have you been so fortunate in your allowance?
Things are changing with the monarchy. Things are changing in Europe. Things are changing with the relationship, I think, of the people. And so getting this allowance, my uncle Leopold famously negotiated quite a large allowance.
Right.
And it creates a little bit of a stare. So yes, I was given an allowance. Of course, Victoria has to negotiate this with the Parliament.
Exactly.
And it is not always the most popular thing to bring the husband in from Germany and give him a lot of money from the Czechs, the ex-Czech. So yeah, I have an allowance. Okay, it could be more, but that is not what's so important to me. What is important to me is what I can do for this country to stay at the front of all the change that is happening. And I think what is important is education and technology and becoming the industrial power that is possible. And I think in Germany, many discoveries happening, many new machines. This is happening in England very much so. And that is why I am interested to be in America, because even in America, I think it is happening faster. It is happening smarter sometimes. And this, I think, is what is important. And the money will follow. But I do not want old money. I think it is important to create new value.
That's a unique perspective for royalty.
It is a little bit ironic, I think. But I think the royalty has to evolve. Things are happening very fast. And you have to be careful. You can look to the east and you can see things falling apart sometimes.
Exactly. Royalty is prone to scandals. They have a propensity, it seems like, for scandals. Has your position been without scandal? Are you willing to talk about that?
I think any family would be subject to scandal if the newspapers were writing about them every day. I think it is a question of exposure. And I think that we need to maintain the dignity of the family. And I think for me, the most important thing that I wanted to do was the Exposition of London several years ago, which I think was a big success. And this is an opportunity, of course, to showcase all those things that are new and that are happening and that are important to the future. And that is the legacy I am interested in.
That was the precursor to our World's Fairs.
Yeah.
In the States,
I think the World Fair will continue to happen. Yeah, that is my prediction for the future.
Final comments you'd like to make as Prince Albert. By the way, do you smoke a pipe?
Oh, I have this. Actually, I wanted to talk to somebody about this. I am seeing this product.
I see that. Is that?
And it has my image on it.
It certainly does.
But I am not seeing any royalties.
I was going to say, you should be getting some intellectual property results from that.
Yes, I'm going to be looking into this. I am starting an inquiry, actually. Yeah, well, I enjoy once in a while a pipe, of course.
We've had a good conversation with you as Prince Albert. Now, let's take off the Prince Albert, and let's talk about who you are.
Yes, I'm actually not Prince Albert.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no.
It's so believable. I had thought perhaps that you had just done a time warp with us. And now, Joseph Machado, what prompted you to adopt this character?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the Dickens on the Strand Festival is in its 52nd year.
That's what I thought. I mean,
so it's been going on for quite some time. And the Queen before this one, the Queen is the portrayal of Queen Victoria before the current Queen Victoria was about 20 years. And she portrayed Queen Victoria in her, after Albert died. So she was in mourning during that period. She would wear black because she was a little bit older. And of course, Albert died as a young man. He was only 42 when he died. And
boy, he was prolific then.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes. He was a very athletic, physically robust person, right? He was into that, and so things go with that, I suppose. So when that queen, what's her name? I don't remember her name, but she retired, and then Rachel Brownhill became the new queen, and she didn't want to be the queen in mourning anymore. She wanted to be the vibrant Victoria, more active, and wearing more colors and all that sort of thing, and the kind of queen people like to see, which I think makes a lot of sense. So she brought Albert in, and it wasn't me. It was Tavi Mark was the first Albert who did it for, I think, about 5 years or so. Happens to be a friend of mine, happens to have retired and moved to Spain. And I knew that was happening because I always loved the Dickens on the Strand Festival and would dress and all that sort of thing. So when there was an opportunity for a new Albert, I turned up at the GHF Society, and I thought I was qualified. I was far too old to be Albert, but Tavi was even older, so that's okay. But I lived in London for a long time and knew a little bit about the context of Albert's life. And of course, Victoria, the Victorian era there is super important to the whole people's whole mindset. And I lived right on Kensington Gardens and would run every other day through Kensington Gardens and Hyde Park. And on the other side from where I lived was Royal Albert Hall. And in front of Royal Albert Hall is the Albert Memorial. So I would run by that 3 times a week. And it's an unbelievable, beautiful testimony of Victoria's love for Albert. And you kind of learn about what an awesome guy he actually was and how important he was to bringing the success, I would say, that Britain had with the Victorian age in terms of just inventing stuff
He was
and creating commerce and opportunities and growing the empire. And he was a big part of that, of looking forward rather than looking back. And that's kind of how I want to portray Albert.
well, and I think you do. Theirs was a romantic relationship as well as a practical relationship, then, wasn't it?
Oh, it was very romantic.
Yeah.
They knew each other very well all their lives. And actually they were both delivered by the same midwife, as it turns out.
I did not know that.
Close. And they really trusted each other. And of course, Victoria was only 18 when she became queen. And you could say she was easily manipulated just because of her age, not because of any lack of capability.
That could have been.
And she was a little bit more emotional, let's say, like more of a hothead compared to Albert. I think balanced that out very well. And in the early days, he did, and he was just as young as she was, of course, but between them together, I think he offered a lot of guidance and gave her a strength that allowed her to interact with the powers in Parliament and other various politics in a way that was really effective. Now, over time, she gained her capability and got her footing, and he found himself sometimes a little bit lost, I think, in terms of having things to do. But he did find things to do. That's why I mentioned the London Exposition. It was a major thing of his.
He was part of the leading edge then of the Industrial Revolution, wasn't he?
I think so. Not from a technical, pure like mathematics, or
No,
but from promoting the institutions.
Embracing a move forward in the various
in terms of
methodologies.
looking forward and the shift from an agrarian economy to an industrial economy, which is really important for England, and the trade that came with that. I think he played a role. I think you can't deny it.
We're going to wrap up in just a little while, but do you have difficulty explaining to people who you are when
Funny
they
you
see
should
you on
ask.
the street?
Yeah.
I mean, do they have a clue who you are?
Generally, no. So I have a fairly clear idea of how I want to be.
You've embraced a character.
But nobody typically knows or cares in particular, because the queen is the spectacle.
Of course.
And that was I'm fine with that. I actually embraced that because that was the struggle of Albert's life, right?
He wasn't quite despair, but he
played
was
second fiddle.
he was really I don't care guy.
Yeah. So you carry on and you move forward and you try to have influence where you can. And so, people don't know. I try to have a bit of fun and interact with people in a way and kind of bring them along into the plot, and mostly kind of engage them in the fact that, okay, we're in this. Isn't it fascinating, all the things that happen? Look, some motor cars. You have many motor cars, and all that sort of thing. And people kind of can sometimes play along with that. But in terms of exactly who I am and why I'm here, rarely occurs, but 1 in 20, I would say, at the most.
Know who you are.
Yeah.
I love the way you carry around the tobacco tin with you. That is perfect.
Well, so many people asked me last year, and I didn't have it. So I just sort of went on Amazon
I was going
or
to say,
Etsy or something.
That's perfect, man.
Yeah. A little prop now and again, kind of.
And it's been a delight talking to you. We could talk a lot more because it is such an interesting character. And I will ask one thing.
Yeah.
Was Albert able to embrace this technology and some of the moves forward without ruffling a whole lot of feathers, or was that a difficult road for him?
I don't know the nuances of that. I think that there were limits to what he could do.
Oh, I recognize that, but he was upsetting some existing apple carts.
Yeah, in many ways. I mean, because he had a mindset that I think was looking forward also on the political front in terms of non-interventionist, take like the Crimean War, right, that happened in his, and that wasn't the way things happened at the time. And so it was But in some ways, he's coming from Germany, the sort of central part of Europe where a lot of that thinking started in a lot of ways. So he brought it, I think, to America. And of course, he brought the Christmas tree. Let's not forget that. I think that's something the Christmas tree became popular because it was something from his childhood.
Right.
And that he introduced to his household with Victoria's. And then, of course, once it's in the royal household, everybody's interested in it. And it became popular as a consequence of that, principally.
Wow. Joseph Machado, what a pleasure chatting with you today. Otherwise known through the Dickens on the Strand as Prince Albert. And what a nice lesson in history we've gotten. And there will be a picture associated with this, so you will know to greet Joe when you see him on the streets of Dickens.
If anybody sees me on the street, what I would challenge them to do is simply ask them, they might be curious about the names of my 9 children. And let's see how I do.
Very good. That's a little acuity test. Great. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks
I really
for the conversation.
It's a lot of fun.
Good time. Thank you.
This has been Jim Breton Podcasts. We hope you have enjoyed, been inspired, informed, angered, or otherwise emotionally stimulated. This is your booth announcer, Sierra Sakel.